My mighty steed, my partner in crime, my metallic armoured second skin. We wear each other. I am worn as much as he. Our wills collide as our minds merge. I am bondsman to the House Crossed, and today we hunt. A single Gargant of prodigious power, yet it has been analysed. We know its weaknesses now. Its guns face forward, its armour also. It is a huge threat to our larger, slower brothers in the greater Titanicus god machines. Yet we are titans too. Yet where they are thunder, we are lightning. We mass. 3 of us in 3 groups. Our group are placed on the left flank, thankfully. Those of the centre are our most experienced and nimble pilots. They will need to be swift and clever to draw its fire, yet remain unclaimed by its fury. We see it trundle into the valley. The Gargant. We have it now. Our section moves behind cover of the ridge and advances at a run. We crush trees, smashing them from our path. The Gargant is too loud. It can hear nothing. We know this, as even over our rampage forward, we can hear its millions of cogs and engines burning and whirring. It barks its rage at the small knights to its fore. Good. Our counterparts over the other ridge side are engaged heavily. As suspected, one of our groups will not arrive. It is them. Hordes of greenskins and their cans on legs are flooding their side. But, as ever, the greenskins have left a gap. They never cover every angle. So primitive. Yet so powerful when roused. We skirt the ridge now, correctly estimating its angles, fully aware of the Gargant's location, of course. We charge over the lip of the valley, and see the huge colossus surrounded by coronas of energy. It shields. Yet as ever, they're weakest from behind. And we strike. Our thermal spears are unleashed as one, all 3 of us moving and firing in concert. The energies flashing at the Gargant's fore merge with those in the rear for moments, then they wink out of existence as we overpower them. The Helverins in front maintain its interest by firing at it hard. The armour absorbs the bulk of it, but when we close, our carapace-mounted melters join the force of our spears. We burn into its hide, through it, and into the soft spine of the beast. It melts, and begins to collapse in on itself, greenskins diving from every orifice as it bursts into a fiery coffin. The deed is done. We turn our attentions on the trucks and troops that were massed in its wake, and tear into them with our chain cleavers. But then it happens. A recall order. Not a request or notification. I am ordered so forcefully that my mind loses control of both the machine god and my own faculties. He has done it again. My lord is a harsh master. And master is the word, not liege, but master. I hate this. My entire body and mind rebelling against invisible snares, lines of dominance that hijack not only my steed, my mighty metallic warrior, but myself as well. My hands stayed, the enemy escape. I am tugged step by step back to the main column. He uses his throne like a whip on me. It is not as it should be. He shows no majesty, no honour. He is beneath me, beneath my loyalty. Perhaps I shall see an opportunity one day, and perhaps on that day I shall run and never look back. Ever wanted to be a princeps, a pilot, or a knight or titan? Have you ever wanted to control a mech with real weight to it? Some recoil and oomph to the weaponry? So you feel like you are actually in charge of a lord of war, not some tinker toy. Then welcome to War Robots. Lead your company of mechs in 6v6 arena battles and crush your enemies. With a hangar that can be packed with over 90 unique bundles of unbridled rage, robots to you and I, you can pick and choose your robots for their special abilities, like jump, fly, stealth, and upgrade them with over 120 war gear options. Rockets, railguns, sonics, flamethrowers, practically sharp sticks. The list goes on and finally answers the question, is this enough Docker? Yes, I believe it is, but you decide. With over 190 million players in every darn time zone, you are never going to be left at the edge of the dance floor, cooling your heels. And clans and co-op modes can really make you feel welcome. Or are you tough enough to go rogue and play solo mode via arena and free-for-all? And it's back! A techno thingy that allows you to scan it to get to the game. Child's play, unless you're a Voldemort. And it's linked to another techno thingy in the description, where you can also download the game. A wee bar that shows how many have downloaded and joined my crusade. So, you can see if Baldur's has a happy or sad face immediately. Fingers crossed for happy face. It's scary in there, as it should be. And I don't want to be Johnny No Mates. So sign up today and you will get the starter pack, which has a stomping great robot, a weapon, and a unique skin. 100 gold and 50,000 silver. So what are you waiting for? Join the bold and let's blast away the bad guys. Available on all phones and PCs. Download War Robots today. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Voldemort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the important factions, forces, and war gear of the Warhammer 40k universe, the grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace. There is only time for war. If you are a regular gentle listener, then I would ask that you check that you are still subscribed and have notifications on. If not, then do consider subscribing, as then you will not miss out on ongoing narratives, if that sort of thing appeals to you. I am practically a single operator, with support from the lovely Mrs. B, of course, finding good backing tracks to use, so please do forgive me if this is not as professional as perhaps the sound might imply. I'm just one chap trying to do my best writing, voicing, editing, and creating as much as I can for you. And today, we are to discuss two of the newer releases for the Adeptus Titanicus. Of course, I can only be speaking of the Knights Armiger, the Helverins and Warglaives. Diminutive they may be, but Titans they still are. And I can tell you, they are nothing to sniff at by any stretch of the imagination. And so, as usual, for the very basics, let us lean on existing wisdom. To quote, Armiger Warglaives. Nimble and responsive, Armiger Warglaives lope towards the enemy with purposeful strides. On one arm they wield fearsome Reaper chain cleavers, their adamantium teeth whirring, their actuator motors roaring. On the other arm, they bear menacing thermal spears, bulky melter weapons that are essentially stripped-down equivalents of the knight-errant's thermal cannon. A single shot from such a weapon can vaporize even the most heavily protected combatant, melt through the wall of a bunker, or reduce a battle tank to a molten wreck. Atop their carapace, each warglaive also carries a heavy stubber for reaping infantry, or else a melter gun that augments their already fearsome anti-armor capabilities. Though they are the lightest class of Imperial Knight, regularly deployed to the battlefields of the 41st millennium, each Armiger is still an imposing war engine, capable of butchering entire squads of the foe. They possess exceptional speed, able to outpace most battle tanks and transport vehicles when moving at a flat-out run, and react almost as quickly as a flesh-and-blood warrior. Moreover, to compensate for their comparatively smaller size, Armiger-class knights typically hunt in packs of 2 or 3. In the case of warglaives, this involves rapidly outflanking and encircling their quarry like wolves on the prowl, before closing in on a rune-transmitted signal to trap and slaughter the enemy. Unusually for knights, Armigers are not fitted with a full-thrown mechanicum. Instead, they are controlled using a more compact device known as a helm mechanicum, placed upon the head and connected via prefrontal sockets to the pilot's cerebrum. These machines do not require full becoming ritual in order for neural interfacing to be successful. For this reason, the prestige of piloting an Armiger is significantly less than that attached to setting a full-fledged throne mechanicum. This is compounded by the fact that, while Armigers can operate independently, it is tradition for their helms mechanicum to be nearly slaved to the command impulses of a larger knight, rendering them subordinate. To accept such mental serfdom is to possess the rank of bondsman, and while this is certainly no mark of dishonor, it is far from glorious. It is for these reasons that the piloting of Armigers falls to those from the lower social strata of the noble houses. Some give this duty to distant relatives and minor offshoots of more established bloodlines, or the surviving knights of a house that has fallen upon hard times. Others elevate the finest common-born warriors from amongst their household guard or planetary militia forces, raising their families' standing from mere peasantry to valued and respected meritocracy. Still other noble houses maintain specialist sub-orders of favoured retainers who are fated from birth to be Armiger pilots. Such is the case with House Griffith's Order of the Hound, who are inculcated with notions of faithful service and honourable submission to a noble's will. These warriors are expert Armiger pilots who favour the close-quarters aggression of the Warglaive, and who stride into battle alongside their masters, filled with dogged determination to do their betters proud. Armiger Helverins. The Armiger Helverin is a fast-moving weapons platform designed to lay down blistering hails of heavy fire while running rings around the enemy's forces. In place of the close-ranged armament of the Warglaive, each Helverin bears a pair of Armiger autocannons, capable of firing hundreds of armoured-piercing shells per minute. Even a single such weapon can swiftly whittle down infantry ranks or shred lightly armoured vehicles. With Helverins mounting 2 of these formidable weapons each and hunting in packs up to 3 knights strong, their withering fusillades can rapidly break an army's flank or blunt the foe's assault well before it can hit home. Helverins also mount carapace weaponry in the same fashion as Warglaives. Many favour heavy stubbers for their simple application in adding to the Helverin's already formidable weight of fire. However, other bondsmen will choose, or have their betters choose for them, to mount carapace melter guns on their Helverins, thus providing them with short-range punch should the enemy's armour or elite infantry move in too close. And you can never do wrong with a melter. Melty. For many Armiger pilots, the mental imperatives transmitted through their neural bonds can feel unnatural and invasive. It is common for new pilots to feel a sense of resentment or upset at having their desires and opinion directed remotely, while those without the requisite mental fortitude may even lose their grip on their sense of self. More than one Freeblade has been born from such feelings, the Armiger pilot rebelling and fleeing rather than enduring the mental dominance of another. It is for this reason that many Armiger pilots train at the side of a Knight Preceptor before assuming their duties alongside their bond liege. The dutiful and heroic example set by the Knight's Preceptor inspires Armiger pilots to accept their subservience to such obvious champions of the Imperium, and also plants within their minds a firm aspiration to do their duty and to live up to the example set for them. Even as the Knight's Preceptor are conditioning the Armiger pilots, they are also busy assessing their abilities. Most bondsmen begin piloting from the helm of a Warglaive, for its weapons and role are both relatively straightforward. Those who demonstrate a cool nerve and a marksman's eye are soon recommended by the Knight Preceptor for promotion to a Helverin. Helverin packs are able to serve a number of strategic roles upon the field of battle, from laying down enfilading fire and forcing dug-in enemies from their positions, to guarding a knight army's flanks from aircraft and light armour, to escort or scouting missions in hostile territory. Armiger Helverins are versatile and highly destructive war engines. Small wonder that they are popular throughout both Imperial and Adeptus Mechanicus noble houses, and relied upon heavily to support their larger compatriots at war. End quote. Now my friend, who I call the Colonel, has an amazing army of knights, so I have to admit that I've been putting off doing an entry on those magnificent monstrosities until I can get hold of him and potentially get some great picks. His army is divine, and some pieces have featured in the Games Workshop community page itself, so do forgive my tardiness in this regard, but I am working towards a big entry, so that we can all bask in the glory that is the houses of the knights and their illustrious history. So until then, wish me luck. I hope it to be a corker. I have been Voldemort, your faithful servant. I hope you have enjoyed this brief introduction to Knights Helverin and Warglaives. If so, then please do consider liking and subscribing. If you do, then hit the notifications button, as I would not want you to miss out. If you see the worth in what we are doing, then do also consider joining our Patreon, or giving the video a share if that is beyond your present scope. It would be a great boon. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.